Thanks for joining us on the news at 7. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We'll begin with security, where the Nigerian military says it's killed 8,034 terrorists, arrested 11,624, and rescued 6,376 hostages. Director of Media Operations, Defense Headquarters, Edward Buba, told newsmen during a briefing on the operations of the military from January to December 2024. Celestina Area reports.
From January to December 2024, the Nigerian military says it was confronted by different threats in 5 active theaters across the country. The threat ranges from Boko Haram, ISWAP, armed militias, IPOB ESN terror groups, and crude oil theft. The army says notable successes have been achieved, which resulted in the killings of over 500 terrorist leaders and commanders, recovery of 8,216 weapons and 211,495 ammunitions, as well as over 57 billion naira in oil theft prevented. The weapons are 4,053 AK-47 rifles, 1,123 local fabricated guns, 731 den guns, and 40 pop action guns, among others. Others are over 50 million liters of stolen crude oil, over 9 million liters of illegally refined automotive gas oil, 90,595 liters of dual-purpose kerosene, and 156,095 liters of premium motor spirits.
The military is heightening its state of security a lot, as well as increasing its state of security readiness to ensure that the security situation as it is not escalated, and that there is no further aggression by the terrorists into our country.
The Nigerian military says it will continue to create conditions in which terrorists will no longer carry out terror or harm citizens. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Security expert and former United States Army Captain Bish Johnson joins me on the news this hour. Mr. Johnson, thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7. It looks like the Nigerian military is blowing its own trumpet. But what do you think these figures are really telling us? When you consider the number of terrorists that were killed, over 8,000, over 11,000 arrests made, and then between 8,000 and 211,000 ammunitions recovered in the past year.
Okay, yeah, good evening and thank you for having me. Yeah, I think the military has, obviously made some progress, but I wouldn't know whether the 8,000 terrorists they're talking about are actually terrorists. It depends on who they are, classifying as terrorists. I don't think there are actually 8,000 something terrorists that have been killed. They have probably killed 8,000 plus something criminals, but like I said, I don't know who is in this class of terrorists as presented by the military. But overall, you can say that progress is being made. I know that we are in a very difficult situation. I've said this thing like several times, in the past decade, that the kind of insecurity that Nigeria faced, particularly with Boko Haram and ISWAP, was not something that was going to be solved overnight. There are instances and researches that have shown that, to completely eliminate terrorism takes on average about 20 years. And so if you consider where the military started and where they are right now, obviously they have gained some experiences, they have acquired some capabilities, therefore they are making progress. And the most difficult aspect of this thing is that they are not engaged in conventional warfare. You don't know who the enemy is. The enemy could be even within you, within your ranks. And so that is what makes the situation that they find themselves, very much difficult. And so, and if you look at, in terms of crude oil production, you've seen that there has been significant progress in the crude oil output of Nigeria. And that is an indication that, the security is also doing well in trying to reduce the instances of oil theft in the Niger Delta. So overall, we could say that to a greater extent, the statistics that they have put out, to some extent, sounds to be very correct.
How sustainable do you think this military action is? You mentioned the fact that the war we're fighting is unconventional. Over the years, we've had terms like kinetic and non-kinetic approach. What yardstick do we measure progress against in terms of security in this regard?
Well, it's not difficult to know whether progress is being made or not. The yardstick is when the people are not living in fears, when the people are able to go about their normal daily activities without fear of being kidnapped or without fear of being taken hostage for ransom or for whatever reason, or without being slaughtered in the streets. So those are the measures, and they're very clear indicators on how you measure whether progress is being made or not. I can't sit here today and tell you that the challenges are over. The challenges are not over, but they are not insurmountable. And the military alone can't solve this problem. The military requires a collective effort of every part of the society, all the fabrics of the society, including the police and all the other security agencies, the paramilitary, even the immigration is supposed to play a very crucial role in trying to be able to curtail the level of insecurity in the country. But because if you look at the weapons of choice of these criminals, whether they are bandits or terrorists or whoever they may be, their weapon of choice is, light arms and small weapons, and which are coming in through our borders. There are only three ways that these weapons will be, available to these criminals. It's either they are coming in through the borders, or we are manufacturing them right here locally in Nigeria, or our service members are compromised and making these weapons available. Now, I don't think that the two last options are up high, when you look at it. Most of the weapons are pouring in through the border. And so that's where immigration comes in. So it's a collective fight, including, the ordinary people who are supposed to provide the military with credible intelligence for them to be able to end this thing, because every military operation has to be intelligence driven. If you don't have intelligence, it's like you're fighting blind.
Security expert Bish Johnson, thank you for talking to us on the news tonight.
Thank you for having me.